right, we'll give it a few seconds. We are officially live. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
There's no one here yet, so we'll wait a few seconds. All right, people are starting to trickle in, so we will get started. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are here live on TikTok at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California, and I am hanging out with mammalogist Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, how are you guys doing today?
We are so good. I think everybody is really excited because who are we going to meet today?
We are going to meet our otters. Have you guys met otters before?
Well, we have once on TikTok Live, but I'm hoping we have some newbies coming in here today.
Yes, and so just like our otters, every time you meet them, it's something different. And so we're going to meet some of these guys today. I'm joined by some of my other trainer friends. We have Sam.
Hi, Sam.
And then Erin is
Hi,
in the
Erin.
back. We're all going to be working with different animals today, so you don't just have to listen to my voice. You're going to get a lot of variety here. We have 5 Southern Sea Otters, so you're going to meet 4 of them today. We do have one behind the scenes that we're not going to meet today, but we're going to meet our other 4. I'm going to be working with Betty. We'll reintroduce them as we go in. Sam is going to be working with Millie, our newest otter. She is 5 years old. And then Erin is going to be working with Ollie, a fan favorite, who is 10 years old.
That's so awesome. And just so you guys know, we are the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California, and we are a nonprofit aquarium, and we really could use your support, especially with our Southern Sea Otters, who cost about $2,000 a month each to feed. So you can support us here on TikTok by clicking that donation button on your screen. All right, I think we're ready to get started. Is everybody in the chat ready to get started?
Yeah.
How about mammalogists? You all ready? Let's do it.
So
Let's head inside.
Let's go.
Let's go. My name is Madeline. I'm on the social media team here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and you will have my point of view today while we hang out with our otters. I see a lot of questions coming in. You can ask questions through the Q&A option here on TikTok. And I have a special treat for our otters as donations start rolling in. So if you want to tap that donation sticker, you'll see something pretty exciting happening. So we are inside of our otter habitat officially. And who do we have here, Erin?
We have Ollie. Ollie is our 10-year-old adult female Southern Sea Otter. She is a fan favorite because she tends to be one of our more energetic sea otters, very voracious eater, and she'll eat pretty much anything that we give her.
So what are you feeding her right now?
It's a great question. These guys are primarily eating clam, shrimp, and Ollie, actually, her favorite is squid. So if you guys want to see me feed her a squid, let me know and I'll find one.
Ooh, let's get some squid emojis in the chat if we want to watch Ollie eat a squid. Ooh, delicious.
She's ready for this one.
She is so ready. She is so ready.
Squid incoming.
Squid happened. Yes.
Favorite food of hers.
Thank you all for your squid emojis. That was awesome. So we feed our otters restaurant quality sustainable seafood, and like I mentioned earlier, they are our most expensive animal to feed. Each otter costs about $2,000 a month to feed here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and they eat that delicious restaurant quality sustainable seafood. Yum, 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 yummy.
Now, the reason that otters need to eat so much, a lot of people ask us that, and they're like, these are pretty small animals. Why are they eating so much? Number one, they are eating a lot of different types of seafood that tend to be a little bit more on the expensive side. These guys have expensive taste, and they like those benthic marine invertebrates. It's a very fancy way of saying they like eating things that don't have spines, that don't really move very quickly along the seafloor. So that's a shrimp for you. Ollie knows it's coming, so she's going to eat that. And these guys eat quite a lot of those just to maintain their body temperature. Sea otters live in pretty cold coastal waters, and so they actually eat a ton of food just to stay warm, and they have one other really cool adaptation to stay warm as well, which you might notice all over Miss Ollie's beautiful body. That is that fur that you see everywhere.
So fluffy.
These guys have the densest fur of any mammal on the entire planet. And if you compare how dense their fur is to a human head, just think of how many hairs you have on your head. A lot.
A lot?
Multiply that by 10.
Okay.
And then condense that to the size of a quarter.
Oh my goodness.
So in every quarter-sized part of their body, they have 10 times as many hairs as you have on your whole head. So they have incredibly dense, beautiful fur that keeps them warm, and actually it keeps their skin dry as well, which is pretty cool. They're basically wearing a dry suit.
That is awesome. Someone asked specific facts about Ollie because she seems to be a fan favorite. Well, we know that. We know she's a fan favorite. So what are some fun facts about specifically Ollie, the Southern Sea Otter?
Ollie is my favorite animal to work with. She is a very smart animal, but she also tends to be very creative. So if she doesn't know the answer to a question, a lot of times she'll make up something different, which is pretty great. And if you look around our habitat, you might notice most of our sea otters move around by just pulling themselves with their front paws and dragging their back paws. Ollie, on the other hand, gallops a little bit like a horse, and that's always interesting to watch her move around on land because she will actually run with all fours. And so those are some of my favorite things about her. She's also not really a picky eater, so actually, if Madeline would entertain me,
I would love to
actually take this camera. You guys can watch her eat up close and personal.
Now you're an Erin Cam. You are acting as mammalogist Erin here on TikTok Live. And I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. We are live here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, hanging out with Ollie, the southern sea otter right now. That's who you are meeting. And Erin, you can also move that donation sticker around if it's in your way.
Oh, perfect.
I don't mind if you touch the screen with your
With my clammy squid
I
hands.
don't mind.
So she's eating a variety of different things, but we also make frozen treats for them. So these are pretty cute. We actually work really hard to make them some frozen treats. Ollie really likes these, so she's gonna take that from me. And she's gonna enjoy her little frozen clam popsicle. It's made out of clam and water, blended together and then frozen. And you can see she really likes those. It's red because of the food coloring that we have there. So these guys are eating a ton of food each and every day, and these guys are actually our most expensive animal to feed here at the aquarium because of how much they eat. So we do appreciate any support that you guys can give us. Each otter, Ollie included, costs $2,000 a month just to feed all of this beautiful restaurant quality seafood that she's getting. Now, Ollie's gonna sign off here and we're gonna trade with Betty so you can meet a second otter, but I have one more squid for her, which she is ready for, so that's a good shot, Ollie. We're gonna watch her eat that, and then we're gonna switch out with one of our other sea otters in just a minute. All right, back to Madeline.
Thank you, Erin.
Of course.
Coming back over to me. Hi, everybody. If you're just joining us, we're here live at the Aquarium of the Pacific. We were just hanging out with mammalogist Erin and Ollie, the southern sea otter. And I suspect we are going to meet Betty, the southern sea otter. And you guys, we've already raised $200 for the otters and our nonprofit aquarium here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. So I have a special treat for every $200 that we get donated. We are going to give our otters a special, delicious heart treat. So who?
We have her do her clap.
We can totally, let's have her do her clap. Betty, are you excited
We gotta get her nice
to
and
be on
excited.
TikTok Live?
Shut up.
Woo! All right.
It's coming up here.
Coming down here. All right, let's give Betty her delicious heart treat. There you go, Miss Betty. Ooh, I think she likes it. Thank you, guys. You guys did that.
You want an up close
Let's
view?
get an up close view, mammalogist Sarah.
So I swear this is not blood, this is red food coloring, non-toxic. We put in their clam smoothie. So we give them a clam smoothie, blend it up, and put it into mold. So thank you for whoever made this mold for us. This is awesome. You can see Betty's really enjoying it. She loves to munch it. Look at those teeth, very, very cute. As you can see, she moves very quickly. Otters are constantly moving. There is no slow-mo for them, or I guess you do need a lot of slow-mo for them because they move very quickly. Oh wow, the donations are going up really, really fast. I think people want to see Betty get another treat. I mean,
Did we get there?
we're not there quite yet, Betty. We need a little bit more. Right up 400.
Almost there.
We're getting there.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're here live at the Aquarium of the Pacific, hanging out with Betty, the southern sea otter, and mammalogist Sarah. And you know what? I did say every 200, so I think we're ready for another one. Yeah, we're ready. All right, I think we'll do one of these this round. And so like mammalogist Erin just said, these are made of frozen clam, blended, and then put into these heart molds. And I think Betty's gonna really like it.
Betty's our chunky lady. She's eating all of Ollie's shrimp that she wants.
She's cleaning up after Ollie here in the otter exhibit at the Aquarium of the Pacific. Very polite. It's okay, Betty, we can wait, we don't mind. We're hanging out on TikTok. Maybe we'll answer some questions while we're waiting for Betty to enjoy her delicious heart treat. Let's see, so someone asked how old all of our otters are.
That's a great question. So Betty here, Betty is 8 years old. Next to her, you're actually getting a special treat. We didn't get to see Millie the last time that we did our Sea Otter TikTok. So once again, my name is Sarah. I'm working with Betty. And we have Sam here working with Millie. She is our newest otter. She is 5 years old, and so they look very, very similar. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to tell them apart. If you look at Betty and you look at her whiskers, they're very blunt, kind of like a little bit of a mustache.
They are.
And she's also very blonde on her chin, where you might not be able to see too well, but Millie has much longer whiskers. She has a little bit of a different head shape, and she's a little bit bigger than Betty. Also, their fur quality. Millie takes much better care of her fur than Betty here, but that's okay.
Betty, you need some self-care.
She does
need some grooming.
She needs some practice grooming. She needs a haircut, right? No, but Millie is a little bit more timid. She's not quite as used to people. They are all rescued. They are all stranded and were deemed non-releasable and are rescued. But Betty here has been here much longer. Millie's only been here for about a year, so she's a little bit more nervous on being around people. A little bit more timid, whereas Betty is a rock star here. She knows how to stand up, how to just be nice and relaxed and calm near.
Very cool. You guys, we need to do some catching up with these heart treats. We are already at $900, so we are going to give Betty, oh, that's really, really cute with her toy. Let's see if she's interested in taking this treat from us here on TikTok Live. There you go, Betty. And we'll play catch up. We got some more to go.
Don't worry, Betty loves food. She will be very happy to eat all of it.
Amazing. Yeah, we got to $1,000. That's amazing. And thanks so much to, we have 20,000 people watching. We have 80 people that have donated. We are so grateful for your support. If you are new to us, we are a nonprofit aquarium with a focus on conservation and education. And like I said, we are a nonprofit, so you can donate to us here on TikTok Live. And the money you donate goes right back to the animals you are meeting here on TikTok Live. So we have Ollie coming back over.
I think we have 2 hearts that we need to give.
I think we can make that happen. All right, Betty. Betty's gonna get a red heart this round. Let's get some red hearts in the chat if you're enjoying this TikTok Live. There you go, Betty. Delicious. All right, Ollie. That's not gonna fit in there, Miss Ollie. You're gonna have to come on this side. Here we go. There you go. There you go. Yep. And so can we talk about one more time what they are eating today?
Yes, so once again, this is Betty. Betty's an all-brown otter. Ollie's the one with the white head, and they are eating basically clam smoothies. So they get whole clam, we put it in a blender with a little bit of water, blend it up, and then put them in molds, essentially. And so we put a little bit of non-toxic food coloring in them just because it looks pretty for us. And then they're eating them, and they've gotten used to them. This is actually one of the ways that we train our otters to take vitamins. So we blend up clam smoothie into a vitamin, with a vitamin, and put it in a syringe, and they're trained to take these syringes so that they get their daily vitamins, but they can also get them in form of ice treats, and so that's what they're eating. But I want to answer a question that we often get asked, so why is Ollie white and Betty black or brown? Well, actually, it really depends on genetics. So Betty here is 8 years old, Ollie is 10, so you would think that they would both be that white color. Ollie actually started turning white around 5 years old. Like I said, Betty is 8, and she's still that all brown coloration, so it really just depends on the genetics. Usually as they get a little bit older, they start to develop that white fur on their head, but it doesn't always happen.
So just like us, as otters get older, they go gray, some sooner than others, some later than others, but I think it's time for another treat too. And Sarah, I have a question for you right after we give Miss Betty this treat. There we go, another red heart. Let's see some red hearts in the chat for Betty. And thank you everybody for your support. We've raised $1.4 thousand in this short amount of time. You guys are incredible. So how did we get our otters? Are they rescued?
Yes, so they are all rescued. All 5 of our southern sea otters were rescued from different areas along the coast. These guys are native to this California coast. They stranded for different reasons. So Betty here stranded within the first few months of her life, same with Ollie. A lot of times they're separated from their mothers. So what happens is their mothers leave them, and then they don't have the skills to survive. So they don't know how to groom their fur. They don't know how to forage for food. They really don't know kind of how to survive on their own. And so then at Monterey Bay Aquarium, they have a sea otter surrogacy program where they take in stranded otter pups. We'll hopefully pair them with a female mother to be able to re-release them. However, our guys were not paired with surrogate mothers because at such a young age, we knew that they would never be able to be released. And so then they moved to the Aquarium of the Pacific, where they're living out the rest of their life as ambassadors, so that we can learn more about southern sea otters, and that you guys can learn all about them and care for our oceans. What's really cool about southern sea otters is they're considered keystone species. So keystone species is basically saying that they're vital to our environment, to our ecosystem. What they do is they eat urchins, and urchins eat kelp forests. And so without urchins, we wouldn't have these kelp I'm sorry, without otters, these urchins would eat all of these kelp forests, and we wouldn't have these kelp forests. It'd be urchin barren areas, or basically complete areas where we have no kelp, and kelp is home to lots of many different fish and invertebrates. So basically, otters really help kind of keep the food system in check. And you might be wondering, well, how do they eat these urchins? Well, if you look at Betty's teeth, let's see, she'll open up her mouth for you. You open.
Oh yeah, we can see them.
You can see
a little shy.
Really sharp teeth, but also these guys, they know how to use tools. And so Betty here, I'm gonna give her these 2 cups. She's actually really good at banging them together and putting them, those smaller cups into the bigger cup. And this kind of mimics those tool behaviors that you see wild otters doing. Oh, you got distracted?
We're distracted. There
They
we go.
bang crabs and clams on their chest to open them up. You got it. There we go.
Amazing,
Yeah.
Betty. Amazing. That was incredible. I think that deserves another heart treat. What about you, Sarah?
Okay, I think
Let's do it.
Ollie might be getting jealous over here.
All right, we can give Ollie. We have a couple.
Ollie can't do the cup behavior, but Ollie is pretty darn cute.
She is very cute. Hey, Sarah, how long do our otters live?
So wild otters tend to only live into their early teens. Under human care, they can live into their 20s. So we actually have a 20-year-old otter that you haven't met yet. She's in our behind-the-scenes area that you're going to be meeting just after this. She's 20 years old. She's one of the oldest sea otters alive. And actually, the oldest to ever live is about 22 or 23 years old.
Very cool. I think it's time for Ollie to get a heart treat. Let's get some more blue hearts in the chat, because this treat is a little blue in color. So let's send blue hearts for Ollie. There you go, Miss Ollie. And it's a delicious, they kind of look like sugar cookies to me, so every time I give them, it feels like I'm giving them a delicious sugar cookie. But like we learned earlier, it is made of frozen clam, and our otters love them. Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Erin is back. She is a mammologist as well here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and she is working with Ollie today. Ooh, lots of blue hearts in the chat for Ollie. We love to see it. We love that. I want to thank our 144 donors who have raised $1.6 thousand for our nonprofit aquarium, and the 12,000 animals that live here. Erin, what are you up to now?
What are we up to? Well, we are working on some training with Ollie. Believe it or not, every time we feed our sea otters, it is also a training session. One of my favorite behaviors that these guys do is actually a toy retrieval behavior. Basically, we ask the otters to go get a toy and bring it back to us. And Ollie's really good at it in the water, but she's not always the best at it on the land area. So what I'm going to do, make it really easy for her, and ask her to take that ball and find. Hopefully she can, here, we'll do one even easier.
Erin just said that Ollie's a little bit better at it in the water, but looks like she's getting pretty good at it
She does.
on deck. Well, she wants you to find it. She wants you to find it, Erin. And we also have Betty hanging out with Sarah back there. And it is playtime.
She's doing her best.
We're all doing our best.
We work on it, and basically what we do is we take these little tiny baby steps. Of her even handing it near me is a big step for a sea otter. And then we work up to it being so that she hands it right back to me. And eventually we have an otter that very politely takes things and hands them back. So let's see, one more time. See if she can give it back. Oh, beautiful job.
Oh, that was a
Ollie.
great job. That was awesome.
She gets rewarded or reinforced with her favorite food, which again is squid. So everything we're doing with these guys is training, and a lot of that training stimulates their brain. It can also give them lots of exercise, which is great for them. And we can train them to do things like open up their mouths, which Ollie is working on, but she's a little shy, so her open mouth is only this big so far. And we work on that for healthcare reasons, basically ensuring that we can take the best possible care of our sea otters as we possibly can. So we actually brush their teeth. We can do body exams for them. They can go into a kennel to get checked out by a veterinarian once a year. So these guys get really great health care here, which is awesome for them because we want to make sure they live long and happy lives. And that all starts with all the food that they're eating. Now, Madeline, speaking of the food that they're eating, we're actually going to wrap up our training session because these guys are almost done with their dinner. But the fun does not end here because we have 2 more otters that need to eat.
Yay!
And you guys are going to go feed them. And additionally, these guys are going to get dessert after dinner. So
Amazing. Do you think we have time for one more heart treat?
Oh yeah, Ollie.
All right, let's get some blue hearts in the chat if we want to give Ollie the last heart treat here made of frozen clam. Thanks so much to our 157 supporters for donating to our nonprofit aquarium, and our otters thank you as well. Ollie's very, very excited about this. Awesome. All right, so should we head out?
Yeah. So
All right.
head on out. We will
Stay tuned. We are going to take 1 second and head back behind the scenes of our sea otter habitat. here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and I have mammalogist Katie and mammalogist Sam back here hanging out. Hello, you guys. What's going on? Who are we going to meet now?
You guys are going to be meeting Millie again. She was out in front, so we brought her back to be a buddy next to Maggie. And then we also have Maggie, our oldest otter, so you guys can come on.
Awesome.
Before you guys come, we also have treats coming up soon, so stay tuned, stay with us.
Stay tuned. We're going to have a mini treat session, a little otter party. It's going to be a blast, so stay tuned for that. But right now we are behind the scenes of our sea otter habitat in our homing area.
So this is where we also do sea otter encounters. So right here is our oldest otter, Maggie, and she just turned 20 years old. So I'm going to give her some snacks through this hole. She might be a little bit, it looks like Millie pushed her out of the way. We could maybe switch spots.
That's okay. We can switch spots, but I'm happy to help. If TikTok wants to help me feed these otters,
Yeah.
I'd love to see some otter emojis in the chat.
In fact, Madeline, do you want to take this bucket?
I'd love to.
I put some ice treats for Millie in there as
Oh,
well.
I can totally
And you
do
can-
that. All right, you guys, we are feeding Millie currently a piece of clam. Let's see if she'll take it. There you go. And I want to get some emojis in the chat if you think we should feed her a squid. There you go. Miss Millie. Oh, we dropped it. That's okay. Let's get another one. That was a short piece. All right. Here's some squid. Oh, this is so much fun.
It's super cute.
If you're just joining us, we are here live at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California, hanging out with our southern sea otters. And I'm currently feeding Millie, the southern sea otter, behind the scenes here of the sea otter habitat. And stay tuned. We are going to have a very fun treat session coming up. And we kind of have to do this in a rhythm, right, Sam?
Yeah, we want to feed these guys some snacks before even some more snacks that we have. So the treats that we're giving them out there, we're setting them up. The treats that we have that are all colorful is actually puree clam. So this clam right here is just pretty much put in the blender with some water and some light
And
food
they love
coloring,
it.
and then they absolutely gobble it up.
So that's what one of these heart treats are.
Yes.
Right here. And let's give one to Miss Millie. There you go.
Millie absolutely loves her heart
She
treats.
does. Oh, you take your time. You take your time. I'll wait. I don't mind. I can hold this squid.
So right here you see our youngest otter that we have here, Millie, 5 years old, and our oldest is 20. All of our otters here are rescues. Every single one. They all have their unique stories, but a lot of times they strand at a very young age, at young pups, only a few weeks old. So the chances of survival is pretty slim. So they come to the Monterey Bay Aquarium up north, up in Central Coast, get rehabilitated, and come over to us to spend the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and we're so honored to be able to provide that to our southern sea otters. And like Sam said, we have our oldest otter, Maggie, and our youngest otter, Millie, here. And Sam, can you remind us how long otters live? What's their average lifespan?
So female otters typically live a little bit longer than male otters, but typically it's around 10 to 15 years out in the ocean. But under human care, since they get the best quality of food and veterinary care around the clock, they can live well into their 20s.
Very cool. And we are feeding them a mix of squid, shrimp, and clam. This is a piece of squid right here.
And these guys eat a ton
There
of
you
food. They eat about 25 to 30% of their body weight every single day. They have to maintain their body weight, their temperature as well, because they do not rely on blubber. They actually rely on the amount of food that they eat and also their fur.
Very cool. And why do we feed them through these little holes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here at the aquarium, we do Otter Encounters. They're unfortunately on hold due to the pandemic. But we also, when we do Otter Encounters, you guys are able to feed these guys through this hole and get up close and personal.
So you guys are technically doing a virtual sea otter encounter. You can pretend you're me. My name is Madeline. I'm on the social media team here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. And obviously my job is really cool because I get to do stuff like this. And Sam is a mammalogist, so she works directly with our southern sea otters. And also, what other animals do you work with, Sam?
Yeah, I work with the seals, sea lions, sometimes the penguins, and I also work with the puffins and other outfit type birds.
Cool. Do you have any advice for someone who wants to break into the field?
I say stick with school, but also experience is key. So getting experience if you're not near an aquarium or zoo, at least get experience through like a farm or an animal hospital.
I got a bad grip on that. I'll fix it, Millie. Sorry. There we go.
And try to volunteer and intern as much as possible.
Awesome. Very cool. Here you go. I'm just enjoying this so much. I could do this forever. How many times a day do our otters eat?
They
They get fed at least 4 times a day, and then it's this entire bucket full. So we could always break it down to multiple feeds, but they get a full bucket of this.
Yum. And like we said earlier, it is restaurant quality, sustainable seafood, because only the best for our southern sea otters.
Absolutely.
Like I said, it does cost about $2,000 a month to feed each otter. So here on TikTok, we raised $2.1 thousand. So you guys have successfully fed Millie, the sea otter, for the month. So we thank you very much. Our nonprofit aquarium is really, really thankful for all the support TikTok shows. You guys are incredible. How old is Millie one more time?
Millie is 5 years old.
Very
and
cool.
then Maggie in front of me is 20 years old.
Awesome. And how do they feel?
They feel very, very soft, and that's because their fur is incredibly dense. They're the densest animal fur in the animal kingdom.
Very cool. You guys are very soft. And that kind of got them into trouble at one point, right? How soft they were?
Oh yes. These guys their home range used to be all around the California coastline, but unfortunately what they're wearing on their entire body is what got them in trouble without them knowing.
So you ready to head out to treat time?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Cool. All right, you guys. I'm going to head back inside of the sea otter habitat.
So while you guys were meeting at some of our other otters, Aaron and I have been pulling a little Santa Claus, setting up.
Oh my goodness.
Already starting to eat.
It does look like a winter wonderland in here. So what do we have happening? We have lots of ice.
Yes, so we have some Nalgene tubes filled with clam and a little bit of food coloring to make them nice and pretty. We have some ice, and then Aaron and I are going to grab a few more treats. To
Awesome.
throw out for our other otters.
Very cool. We will watch Maggie, Betty, and I think Maggie, that's Maggie over there. This is Ollie in front of us, and Miss Betty as well.
Yes.
So otters don't usually live in an icy habitat, is that right?
That is correct, but our otters from a young age have been given ice as reinforcement or as something that's nice and fun for them. So you can see they're getting some of that right now, and Aaron is giving them one of their favorite treats, once again that clam smoothie, but made into little cupcakes. So we have an artist among your hands. We got Millie coming up here now too.
What's it like being an otter baker?
An otter baker.
Otterly awesome baker.
Utterly awesome baker. It's pretty cold because it's mostly just freezing stuff.
Very cool. All right, who do we have hanging out on the ice right
So
now?
we have Millie up front here. Then we have Betty in the back. We have Ollie that already took some stuff. Millie's a little bit newer to these treat sessions, so she likes to hoard all of her stuff.
Awesome. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but everybody can visit the Aquarium of the Pacific right now. You can check out our outdoor exhibits, and while our outdoor exhibits don't include our otters, you can still visit and see our sharks, our sea lions, our penguins, and that information is at the link in our bio. And I would love to know how many people viewing have visited our nonprofit aquarium before. If I could get some blue hearts in the chat to see if you visited the Aquarium of the Pacific, I would love to see it. And so we are kind of spacing out the treat sessions. We have some fun green treats here. We have some blue and red treats. A little mini cake. That's adorable. Little mini cake. Okay, lots of blue hearts in the chat. That's amazing. And if you haven't visited our nonprofit aquarium before here in Long Beach, California, I want to let you know that you technically have, because you're joining us here on TikTok Live today. And you can continue your visit after we are done on TikTok Live by clicking the link in our bio and heading to our webcam page. And while our otters are not on webcam, you can definitely watch our jellies, our penguins. What else is on webcam? Tropical reef. Lots of exhibits. So definitely check those out after we are done with our live stream. We'll be live for a few more minutes. I think we have time for some questions.
Ollie.
Do the otters like the treats?
They do. You can see they love
I think
food.
yeah, they definitely do.
Throw that down.
There we go.
They have a very fast metabolism, so by the time they eat, they're already hungry again. Out in the wild, they eat most of the day. They're foraging about 18 to 20 hours a day, so they're eating lots of food. So it makes sense that they would always want this food. Like we said earlier, they eat 25% of their body weight every single day. So they're big eaters.
Very cool. All right, I'm going through some questions to see. You know, a lot of questions we get, people want to know how we acquired our otters. Where did they come from?
Yeah, so they are all rescued, every single one of them. They all stranded or were deemed non-releasable at really young ages. Maggie was stranded a little bit older, but all of these guys basically couldn't make it out in the wild. And so what that means is they would basically not be able to make it. So they didn't have mothers to teach them how to groom, how to forage, basically how to be otters. Or some of them had some medical issues when they were really little. And then Monterey Bay Aquarium took them all in, tried to nurse them back to health with the hopes of releasing them, but they just were deemed non-releasable. So essentially, they wouldn't make it in the wild and they ended up here. And so we use them as animal ambassadors to all of you guys. So we can teach people about otters, why we should care about them, why they're so important. And you get to see all of the cool stuff that they can do.
It's raining treats in here.
It's raining. Aaron's having fun tossing some treats.
I have a question for both of you, Aaron and Sarah. How does it feel to work with animals? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's basically all I've ever wanted to do for my whole life is work with animals. And for a long time, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. Veterinarians have this incredible job where they get to help animals and they get to help them when they're not feeling well. And I started doing some internships working with animals, and I realized that there's this kind of cool in-between to not really being a veterinarian, but being the person who gets to work hands-on with the animals. And we actually get to train these guys to do some cool stuff, including vet visits, having them comfortable with the vets coming up. And so we work very closely with our vet staff to make sure our animals are healthy, and I get a good dose of animal time each and every day. Plus I get to make these super cute otter treats and then watch them enjoy it. And it's a really wonderful job. So if you ever want to work with animals, I recommend it if there's something that you love. You can also volunteer at your local zoo or aquarium. We could always use the help as well. So definitely look into volunteering opportunities if you want to work with these guys to see if it's for you. As cute as they are and as fun as it is, it's a lot of cleaning also. We've got lots of dishes to do after a big treat party like this. But it's totally worth it because these guys are wonderful and we get to teach everyone about how wonderful sea otters are. So we really appreciate you guys supporting us, donating to the aquarium, and also just coming to learn about our otters because I've dedicated basically my adult life to taking care of these guys, and it's really cool to share that with you.
That's awesome. Sarah, do you have any words of advice for anyone who wants to break into the field?
I think Aaron basically said all of it. It can't happen. But yeah, it's really awesome. There's only 13 facilities with Southern Sea Otters, maybe a few more now. But so it's really cool. Only a handful of people get to work with Southern Sea Otters. They are very endangered. There's only about 3,200 of them left in the world. So to get a job every day where I get to come in and not only see them, but work with them and help kind of teach people about our ecosystems is pretty incredible. And to know that, you know, we're trying to help make these guys have the best life ever and help people learn about them as well. And so I think just if you really want to do something, go for it. So if you want to volunteer, if you want to help them out, do what you can. I mean, no small action goes unnoticed. Volunteering, interns. Aaron and I actually interned together, which is pretty cool, and then both got this job here years later. So you meet really awesome people as well, and so I think everything goes back to these animals and our environment, and it's like Aaron said, it's a lot of hard work, but it's really rewarding to see how enjoyable these guys are.
That's awesome. Oh, even more treats. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at these for a second. What do we have here, Aaron? Take us through it.
Well, we've got lots of different treats that are essentially made out of the same thing, blended up clam and water.
How cute are these cupcakes, you guys? How cute.
I really
That's
like
adorable.
The clam is actually the perfect color for a vanilla cupcake, so we've got that going, and then some nice purpley tops to them. So we've got those. I really like the cupcake ones, and then we've got other treats too. We've got little heart shapes. Stars, things like that. Our otters don't care as much what their treats are shaped like, but we do.
We do. We care.
These really big ones tend to be the favorite of Ollie because she likes to take the biggest possible thing and have it all to herself.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? That makes sense. That makes total sense.
So that's why she and I get along so well, and we both have the same philosophy on food.
Especially in the treat department. I love it. If you are just joining us, we are here live at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and earlier we are feeding our otters, and now they are getting their fun treat session. And like Aaron said, all of these treats are made of delicious, sustainable frozen clam blended and put into fun little molds. And so they kind of have to eat them a little slower because they are they are frozen. And they're just really adorable. So we have fun with that. And they are hanging out on ice. And Sarah, can you tell us a little bit again about why we give our otters ice?
Yeah, so there are southern sea otters and northern sea otters. Northerns are more toward those icy areas. Southern sea otters actually don't really encounter ice at all throughout their life. But at a really young age, they are introduced to ice. It's a form of enrichment or basically a thing that they can interact with, play with. But also at a young age, they're introduced to it because it helps them groom their fur. So when they're really little, they need to learn how to groom that fur. Basically, they have to groom it throughout the day to make sure that it's nice and waterproof. So they aren't just born able to have waterproof fur. They have to groom it. They have to maintain it. And so they have to clean it. They have to make sure that it's not matted. And when they're really little, sometimes you can encourage them to groom by giving them ice so they can rub their backs on it. They kind of move around, do a little shimmy on it. You might see them doing it throughout their treat session. And this is a great way for them to learn how to groom that fur. And then in turn, they also like to eat it. So it can be a good form of hydration, but it's something for them to interact with. And a lot of times we'll find our otters in between our training sessions up here napping on the ice, looking up at our beautiful skylight, just kind of grooming. Ollie does something really, really cute. She likes to take one of her balls with her and brings it up on deck here and actually sleeps next to it, which is pretty.
Ollie, we're talking about you. She knows. That is really adorable. Can you quickly talk about the 3 otters we have right here? What are their personalities like? They're pretty different, right?
So you do have to be careful of their different personalities. We obviously want all of our otters to get along, and so what's really important is that we introduce them. So when Millie first came here, we introduced her slowly to the otters so that she could get used to them. So Millie is the one in the back. She is 5 years old, so she's the farthest on the ice right now.
This is Millie.
She's spicy. She's very, very smart, very attentive. She's our youngest though in the morning. When she sees us preparing her bucket, she's just sitting there at the window watching like, okay, it's about time guys, I'm ready to eat. Betty is the other all-brown otter closest to us right now. Betty is 8, almost 9 years old. She's actually named after Betty White. And so that's a really cool collaboration that we have with Betty White. Thank you, Erin, for getting her to turn over here, but tossing her to me. Betty and Millie are our 2 biggest otters. They're both around 20 kilos, so a little over 40 pounds. They're our biggest otters. Betty's really funny. Betty, she's very smart, but she also is very skittish. So little things scare her. You can see her playing with that toy now. She gets very terrified of new toys, so that's something that's a little bit slower introducing her to new toys. And then Ollie is just our rambunctious kind of wild child. She's 10 years old. She is very smart. She loves to go into her kennel voluntarily. She'll sit there. She'll choose to sit there. She likes being around people. She is adorable. I don't know how else to say that. And then Maggie, our old lady, is 20 years old. Maggie's feisty. If Maggie doesn't want to do something, she is not going to do it. But we call her a sassy lady. But she's still got spunk even at 20 years old. She's still moving around great. She recently developed cataract, so she can't see quite as well, but she's probably the best at getting through toys. She's really good at stacking cups. She's just a cute little old lady that we love. Unfortunately, Ollie loves to steal her food at the end of session. Ollie, I know. But Maggie's okay with it. Most of the time, she just lets it happen. She's starting to get a little better about sticking up for herself. But Maggie can always be found right before our sessions, waiting at the windows for her trainers to come.
Oh, so polite.
So polite.
We had a couple of questions about their behaviors, Sarah. Can you tell us a little bit more about why we call them behaviors and why they are important to our animals here at the Aquarium of the Pacific?
Yes, at the Aquarium of the Pacific, we don't call them tricks, because tricks kind of imply that we're doing something out of this world or something that's not possible for them. But we call them behaviors because there's a lot of times things that these otters can do on their own or out in the wild. So you can see Millie here is throwing her treat. That's something that we wouldn't have to train her. She can do that on her own. If we put it on a cue or discriminative stimulus, so we trained it with a verbal cue, that's something that we could put there, but it's not a trick. It's not like she's learning to ride a bike. It's something that they can do naturally on their own. So earlier we had Betty stand on her rear flippers. That's something they can do on their own. It's not something that we're contorting their body to do.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a cute view.
Yeah, that's a good view. This is a good view.
So we call them behaviors a lot of times. And we train them different behaviors because we want them to constantly be stimulated. If you think about a day where you're doing absolutely nothing, it can become very boring. And so we want to make sure that our animals are constantly having that mental stimulation, but also they're getting physical exercise, so they're moving around and that they're learning healthcare behaviors. So we also want to be able to take care of them. And it's our duty as trainers to make sure that we take the best care of them and train them to do things to help take care of them. So it's a lot less stressful if I can train an animal to voluntarily go into a kennel so that we can move them to a different area, or they can get a physical rather than forcing them into this kennel. So it's all about stress too. We want to make sure that we're limiting the amount of stressors that we put on our animals and giving them new novel things that happen in their life.
Very cool. You can actually book a digital message from our sea otters on Cameo. If you visit the link in our bio, you can book a message from a sea otter for a birthday, a pep talk, an anniversary, whatever you would like if you're a big otter fan. And this is actually the point of view that we do them from. And once again, we are live here at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California. We have raised $2.5 thousand thanks to 215 amazing donors. We appreciate your support so much as a nonprofit. And like we talked about earlier, otters are the most expensive animal we feed here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. So any support is so appreciated. Sarah, you touched on for a second about the health care that they get here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes, they get incredible health care. So they get annual physicals. So once a year, we have them voluntarily go into a kennel and we bring them down to our Molina Animal Care Center. It's basically our vet hospital. We'll actually sedate them. We'll do a full dental clean on them, take blood. We'll do any x-rays, any sort of procedure that we need to do, look at their eyes, do this full look over them, and then bring them back to the exhibit. And just like normal, it happens once a year. For our older otters, we try to do it twice a year just to make sure that we're keeping up with anything. That their blood work looks good, that there isn't anything noticeable. We can also do ultrasounds if need be. We also look at their teeth every single day. We give them vitamins every single morning. They're trained to take basically a smoothie in their mouth. They'll hold their syringe, take this clam smoothie with a little bit of marine mammal vitamins in it. We'll give them that every single morning. Maggie, our older otter, also gets eye drops. So all of our animals are trained to do voluntary eye drops. So as you can imagine, having animals, they sometimes interact with each other. They can sometimes, unfortunately, fight with each other, or they can bump into things when we're not here. And so if something does happen, we want to be able to mitigate that right away. And so we are training them to constantly do different behaviors or different things that help their overall health care. So like I said, those eye drops are super important. Maggie has cataracts now. We want to make sure that it doesn't bother her, so we can give her eye drops every single day to make sure that her eyes are nice and healthy.
Very cool. And Sarah, I think that you know the question I'm going to ask you next, because it always gets asked here on TikTok Live. Do they fart? Do otters fart?
Yes, they do. They fart and they poop. They pee. Actually, one fun fact is sometimes they'll pee on their fur to help them groom it a little bit better.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time, but you can see it. They do poop, they do fart. Some of our otters more than others. They eat a lot of shrimp, and so the shrimp, kind of roughage, they will just poop out the shells. So for all of you that wanted to know, yes, we do have to clean that up. And for animals that have such fast metabolisms, it doesn't happen quite often. That's one of the joys of being an animal trainer, is you have to clean up after your animals as well.
Someone asked what their diet consists of, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, but here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, they eat squid, shrimp, and clam. Anything else, Sarah, that I'm missing?
No, sometimes we'll give them crab legs. We've given them abalone before. Sometimes we'll give them mussels with the shells so they can play around with those, break those. We try to be variable, but the main staples that we always include are that clam, shrimp, and squid.
Amazing. All right, I think we're getting towards the end of our treat session now, so I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in, and I want to thank our 219 donors for raising $2.6 thousand for the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California, our nonprofit. That money goes right back to the animals you met today here on TikTok Live and our other 12,000 animals at the Aquarium of the Pacific. If you want to learn more about anything that we talked about, you can click the link in our bio. That includes our webcams. You can visit our outdoor exhibits right now. And you can also purchase a Cameo and pretty much, everything else that I talked about today. We talked about a lot of stuff here on TikTok Live. I want to thank our mammologists. Thank you so much to you guys for talking to TikTok Live today. And we'll see you next Tuesday with another animal. I'm very excited for you all to see. All right, everybody. We'll see you back here on TikTok Live soon. Bye-bye.